What's up, everyone? Welcome to a late night edition of the David Carson Show. It's about 10 o'clock Central Time on a Friday night. Having some fun, having a little bit of drink. Don't worry, this isn't straight tequila. It has water in it, but I'm sipping on tequila. Hope you're having a good night. Got a lot to get to today. Donald Trump, his mugshot is here. Hell yeah, let's go. And in other news, Donald Trump returns to Twitter, or X, whatever you call it. Biden extends lavish vacation as Americans struggle with inflation. Black voices for Trump director arrested without bail. That's super messed up. Oliver Anthony facing backlash after clarifying the meaning of Richmond north of Richmond. That's an interesting one. Vivek Ramaswamy reveals his vision for America. Video shows Florida man injecting chemicals under a family's door. That guy is a piece of work. Let's just put it that way. Marjorie Taylor Greene explodes on Fani, Willis, and Joe Biden. And finally, all Trump co-defendants have surrendered in Georgia. Yeah, let's get into it. This should be a fun one. Having a bit of drink. Happy Friday, everybody. If you're watching live, happy Friday. Again, it should be fun. Yep. Having a bit of drink should be a little different. It's a late night edition. Yeah, busy day outside of streaming, so I didn't want to just not stream. Got to be somewhat consistent. I'm working on doing the noon, doing it at noon, but so far not so good. But figured I'd do it today still. Who cares, right? All right. First story. I got two clips for this one. The one more serious and the other one is pretty comical, So it should be fun. But yeah, so Donald Trump's mugshot. Here's a clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mugshot has arrived. In
Yes.
fact, the image we saw was real.
Wow.
It was real. It was a photo of the mugshot. And CNN is reporting this is the Fulton County mugshot of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
This photo is history in the making. And I'm sure it will be on a plethora of T-shirts and posters.
Yep.
I would, you guys feel free to make this, but I think we'll make one. We'll take that image of Trump. We'll put it on a poster so it looks like the...
Oh, sorry about that. Let's go back. Oh, man. This is all falling apart.
And I would like to put one of those posters up. And probably
I'm just going to restart this.
How can we give them out for free?
I'm going to restart it from my YouTube
give
clip.
Posters of Trump that says revenge.
We could just do a mailing.
Stop it. Donald Trump's mugshot is here. Here's a clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mugshot has arrived. In fact,
Yeah,
the image we saw
mugshot.
was real.
Wow.
It was real. It was a photo of the mugshot. And CNN is reporting this is the Fulton County mugshot of Donald Trump. This photo is history in the making, and I'm sure it will be on a plethora of T-shirts and posters.
I can't wait.
I would...
I'll hang one behind me.
You guys
I
feel free to make
probably
this,
actually am
but,
going to do that.
I
That
think
sounds hilarious.
we'll make one. We'll take that image of Trump. We'll put it on a poster so it looks like the Obama Hope poster, but it'll say revenge instead.
Ooh, revenge.
And I would like to put one of those posters up and probably just... How can we give them out for free? Can we
give it to me for free?
Posters
I'll put
of
it
Trump that
by
says
my
revenge?
thermostat.
We could just do a mailing.
You could do a PDF and people could print it themselves in all sizes, right?
And then anyone can just take it. That's
Well,
a
I
good
can just
idea.
make one
so, I don't know,
myself.
do we have anyone from the crew listening? They can just make it. And
I'll
then
make
we'll
my
just
own.
Publish it and be like, there
Donald
you
Trump
go.
mugshot.
Revenge.
I'll put
The
mugshot
mugshot is
on
here.
mine. It's kind of generic.
And some people were
mugshot.
saying the fourth surrender would be meaningless and it would not matter. No, this is
No,
this
we
is
wanted
it.
that
This is the one. The other
mugshot.
ones were like slow build up. This right now with the mugshot.
Yeah.
Well, this is unpardonable. So this has the teeth.
I mean, New York is unpardonable. State charges, but it wasn't election related.
Right. And
Stormy
This
Daniels
is
related. Boring.
clearly political for one simple reason: the most famous man in the world does not need a mugshot. Trump can't walk down a street in Peru and not like Trump can be in Utqiagvik. How do you pronounce it? In Alaska, and they're going to be like,
Hey, Trump. Of course.
Trump could be in the Aleutian Islands on an abandoned military base. And if anyone walks by for any reason, maybe, the only place Trump can go where they need a mugshot, North Sentinel Island. You can't. There you go.
Wouldn't last very long.
They'd be like, "Who's?"
It
wouldn't last. But that's the only place in the world, except for like uncontacted Amazon tribes, I guess. But if Trump went to North Sentinel Island, they'd be like, "Who are you?" Actually, they wouldn't say English. They'd just be like, "What is this?" Like it's some crazy guy.
Did you see his truth about that?
No, what did he say?
Oh God, it was hilarious. He was talking about. He goes, "I have to put up a bond because of a flight risk," and he said, "Well, gee, I wonder, would I possibly be leaving on my plane, my ever unrecognizable plane with a giant branding on it?" He goes, "No, perhaps I should fly commercial because no one would recognize me there."
Go incognito.
Yeah.
Yes, it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
This is something Trump proves over and over again, which is that he is the entity in and of himself. He's recognizable and people will flock to wherever he is. The Tucker interview had, 100 million views in less than
Yeah,
8
it had like
hours?
250
Yeah,
in
like
less than
220 or
It's
30.
insane.
24 hours.
People want to know what he's doing. There's no way that he would just not be noticed if he tried to sneak out of the country. And also, he's running for president, so he
dumb.
probably doesn't want to leave. He probably wants
doesn't
to
want
be
to
here
leave.
on purpose. I think the mugshot is just for Democrats to fundraise on.
You
and
don't
that's,
think it'd be a good idea for him to
And
campaign to people in like somewhere in South America?
I think he can do whatever he wants. I
Does he
just
take
think
his
if you're the
detail with him?
America First president, you
Right.
want to stay in America.
He's going to take a Secret Service detail with him on his flight.
Yeah.
Out of the. I mean, it's just so ludicrous. Why is there a bond?
Where do you
why
want
is
to
there a
go?
flight risk?
Tell
It's
me.
so
Because it
obvious.
We'll go where you
intimidates
guys want.
And also,
This isn't
We'll go
all
together.
about government intimidation.
why isn't the bond higher? That's
Exactly.
my current one. Like,
It should be 200 million. If
200
it's a
million?
If they were
if it
really
was a
scared.
legit bond,
Yep, I agree.
it would be 200 million or $2 billion because he really is a flight risk and it's a problem. But 200,000,
Imagine-
that's pocket change.
Imagine a
for
mob
Trump.
boss indicted on all these counts, RICO. They would not let him go. There, anyone else, and that is not even high crimes. If it's like the mob boss was engaged in a criminal enterprise where they were selling drugs, and they were organizing and doing this and doing that, we believe that he's a major flight risk. We're not going to let him out. They'd be like, "Yep," and the lawyer would argue, be like, "How dare you?" Blah blah blah. He's innocent until proven guilty,
How
and they'd
dare
be
you.
like, "We have a preponderance of evidence." Donald Trump's accused of trying to overthrow the government. You'd think for that they'd be
Allegedly.
like, "We don't let this guy anywhere. We're going to cut off his communications. He's dangerous." Nope. They're like, "You're free to go, sir. Have a nice day." Because it's political. They want to campaign off his mugshot as much as Trump wants to campaign off his mugshot.
Yep.
The danger is if both sides
Danger
are
zone.
using civil conflict for fundraising and generating votes, it only ends in one place. You eventually end up with a politician saying, "Look, they said vote for me and I will put them in prison." Trump said it first and then didn't do it. Then they said it and now they're doing it. Trump gets reelected, revenge. He starts doing it.
Revenge.
Then they're going to say it's illegitimate. At what point does someone say no? And then there's a clash. I got to tell you, I'm looking at these videos and I'm having scary, eerie feelings. What is the legitimacy of the squad car in front of the jail taking Donald Trump in on these BS fake charges? The police in Georgia, my fear is the actions they have just taken. There's a photo of them like Trump's walking out and they're in front of them and things like that. It makes them look like they are illegitimate and they have no authority. I'm imagining this scenario. A police officer imagine this. There's a cop standing on the side of the street. A homeless man walks up and says, "I want you to arrest that woman." And he goes, "You got it, boss." And then he goes and does it. And you're watching it happen being like, why are you arresting that woman? That's just some random homeless guy. What we have here is, that's my analogy. I don't understand how they can expect to maintain a view of legitimacy of law enforcement when, one, crime is skyrocketing. People are ransacking Nike stores and malls and grocery stores, and they're not arresting these people. With the COVID lockdowns, they punished regular innocent people, and already conservatives were outraged. There's the videos of the cops stomping on the thin blue line flags.
That's nuts.
Now you have more than half the country, slightly more, that believe this is political and illegitimate, and they watch a police officer engage in plainly political, illegitimate behavior. The only thing now stopping people from disrespecting the rule of law is a fear of violence. That was a large component of it. But there was often, I would say in this country, there was a fear of a respect of authority and a fear of being shunned by the community. So it wasn't just that the cops could assert force over you. For many people, it was. But for a lot of regular law-abiding citizens, it's the wrong thing to do. We respect the police. The police don't respect you. The police are letting criminals run rampant. The police arrested that poor young man in New York who tried to save people on a train. The police arrested Kyle Rittenhouse. They put him in jail. How could anyone watch what they're doing to a former president and think the police are acting in a legitimate way? When I looked at the live video that outside the jail, and you got the squad car there, I'm just like, it looks like a clown car to me. I don't feel it anymore. I do not feel it. It feels like these cops are derelict. It feels like they are illegitimate, and that worries me because if I'm seeing this now, and I'm not even the biggest Trump guy, I can't imagine what anyone else is thinking about it.
Yeah, it's impossible. I mean,
It's interesting though, because most Trump supporters still support the police. I don't support the police, but at the same time, to make some really good points, it's just like the following orders thing, you know. And when I don't know, it's laws are laws, right? They're supposed to enforce the laws, so yeah, it's really complicated. Because if people are like raiding a Nordstrom or something, the police are like, nothing we could do. We're just hired to enforce the laws. The cops stomping on a thin blue line flag, like what are you doing? It's like the people that support you. It's like, no, they don't even want it. But I mean, there's a lot of cops, so it could just be a small group. But they probably shouldn't be cops.
History guy here. Does this remind you of anything else?
Not in this country.
No.
I mean,
What other remind you of other countries?
Yeah,
right?
that's now I'm interested.
Exactly.
What other countries? Yeah,
well, I mean, you've got Brazil. You know,
the most recently with Lula and
yeah, I mean, Glenn Greenwald talks about it, and then from my understanding, Korea's been doing it. It's common in Eastern Bloc countries, things like that.
But what about historically? When countries fall into revolution, regime change, war, civil war. I mean, a lot of people have said there are similarities between this and the Spanish Civil War. I think I've heard that the most. That what's going on here tracks alongside the Spanish Civil War more than anything else.
I haven't followed it, so I'll take your word for it on that.
I don't know.
I have to go look myself. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about it.
It just seems bizarre that this would be the route that, we take now. I mean, I was reading CNN today and they were saying this is unprecedented. First time in history something like this has happened. You want to say you think that's a good thing? Like, do you think this is the direction you want to take the country? If you're the party that's in power, is this the precedent you want to set? I mean, theoretically, if the scale sit back.
Yeah, it could just backfire on them. They're nuts. They're like, okay, yeah, let's do this. But if Trump gets elected, he's going to go in. I think it's just going to backfire on him. So I guess we'll see.
Trump's elected.
Or novel. How many times have you heard the word? That's
coronavirus.
Novel charges. We've never
coronavirus.
seen novel
favorite.
charges. Never. The
Never
RICO
before
Act
seen.
is novel. Jack Smith is novel, which means we're making the shit up as we go.
Where is any Republican to do the smallest bit? Don't get me wrong. Like federally, we got Jim Jordan saying, I hereby demand with a strongly worded letter. I want to see what you've got in your documents. And it's like, well, she probably crumbled that up and threw it in the trash, blew her nose in it first.
Yeah.
Where's the subpoena? At the state level,
She
where are the
doesn't
indictments?
care. She doesn't care at
You've
all.
got, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to ask, do any of the strong worded letter is obviously ridiculous, but at the same time, does he have to issue it to give her a chance to turn over the documents before he can get a subpoena? Like, I don't know what the
I'm not
legal
sure because
procedure is.
questioning her could be part of the investigation, right? I mean, we want to bring you in and talk to you about what's going on because how do we determine what we're charging or what we're actually writing out?
Right.
Get your ass over here. We got a problem. Come on up here.
It is crazy that she's not in D.C. answering questions.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Tim Cat.
Very, very interesting. Yeah. Kind of interesting how all this is playing out. But I'm just glad they released that mugshot. It's pretty funny. But yeah, they make some good points. It's really interesting how things could play out in the future. But, I guess we'll see. Let's play another clip.
Yesterday, as I'm sure you heard, the most iconic photo in really all of human history was taken Donald Trump's mugshot. Not just of our lifetime, not just of this century, which is really only 23 years, not just of the last 100
Well,
years,
the last 100
but
years.
really of all of human history. A former president of the United States, the frontrunner in the current election cycle, arrested for trumped-up charges for doing the exact same thing that Democrats did and tried to do when he was first elected back in 2016. Of course, I will be putting it on a t-shirt for you in numerous different styles, and already would have had that.
Everyone's
except
doing
I don't
it.
know what happened with
I think I'm going to make
designer.
one.
I think he just totally flaked on me, or he didn't understand the urgency when I said as soon as
Get a new
possible,
designer,
meaning right now. And the software that we use to collaborate, we use a special software, isn't sending out notifications. So
Get
be
new
patient.
software,
I'll have
too.
them maybe later today
Mark.
or this weekend. I'll post an update
What are you
on
doing?
the community tab. And I searched Google for the most famous photos of all time. I know Google is evil. I just wanted to see what the mainstream search results were for that topic. And Trump's photo definitely eclipses all of them. You probably have seen some of these. The guys eating their lunch, the steel workers out sitting there on the beam of a skyscraper that they were building. This photo, of course, celebrating Victory Day over Japan during World War II. This list has Gandhi and his spinning wheel. Not sure what's so special about that one. This one I'm not going to show. It's a horrifying scene from the Vietnam War. Tank Man, the Chinese guy standing in front of the tanks in Tiananmen Square in China. This one, the Afghan girl, the girl with green eyes. So I would say by far, Donald Trump's mugshot eclipses all of these. And what's really interesting is what this meme illustrates, because both
Loving the
Trump
mugshot,
supporters, and
Trump
haters
haters
were extremely excited about the mugshot being released. The Lincoln Project, those never Trump phony Republicans who turned on Donald Trump back in 2016 and then made an absolute killing cashing in on the gullible Democrats who just gave them a bunch of money so that there could be a group of a half a dozen supposed Republicans who were against Trump. They posted this. I would say it's a moronic meme, but the meme itself is actually great. I'm sure they stole it from Republicans because I've actually seen almost identical ones on our side. Their intention behind it, however, is moronic because they are celebrating the release of the mugshot 2. Live reaction to Trump's mugshot photo, they say.
To show it to an audience who just a striking image.
This guy, however, is even more out of touch. He posted the clip of Kyle Rittenhouse breaking down on the stand, which became a meme, and then captioned it, "Republicans after they see the Trump mugshot."
No, I'm in the bar
No
with other
moron.
people.
We were looking forward to it even more.
Mugshot!
Up until yesterday, the most iconic mugshots of all time would
I'm hyped
probably
about
be a
it.
toss-up between Frank Sinatra's and Martin Luther King's. Frank Sinatra's was actually sold, I remember, on a t-shirt back in the 90s at Spencer Gifts. Then, of course, there's this mugshot of Nick Nolte, an actor who I literally can't even name a single movie that he's been in, but his name sounds familiar. He was an actor back in the 80s, maybe the
Tropic
90s.
Thunder.
Still, the title holder for the nerdiest mugshot is held by Bill Gates, who was arrested, I think, for reckless driving back in like the 1980s, speeding in his Porsche. And the title holder for the hottest mugshot is still Paris Hilton, who was arrested for a DUI back, I think, in like the early 2000s. And if there is a silver lining to this situation, I try to make light of it the best I can. This is just some gallows humor because I don't think most people understand just exactly how bad things are going to get in America. But Donald Trump is back on Twitter, now rebranded as X, posting his first tweet since the mostly peaceful protest shortly after January 6th, when he was banned from all big tech platforms. Posting the mugshot along with the caption, "Election interference, never surrender," and a link to his website, donaldjtrump.com. Last night, pretty much all night, on CNN and MSNBC, they used split screens with the Operation Mockingbird assets on one side of the screen and Donald Trump's mugshot on the other.
To me, this is justice. The fact that Manhattan didn't give him a mugshot, I thought was offensive. I thought that the Fed said, we don't know what he looks like. He was the president of the United States. Okay, offensive. Everyone else had to take him. This case, and I think Fani Willis is a hero. She is a national hero because she
is unwitting.
If you don't know the beeping, it's like from Mark Dice does this. There's this guy, he's like a lower class guy. He's like a teacher and he sued New York. And he could barely, he was hard to understand. And he just, he just had his smoke alarm going off in the background when they were interviewing him. Now he puts it behind. It's so funny.
Helping me put out what will ultimately be the best t-shirt of all time. Again, you got to be patient. They're going to be great. I could have slapped something together last night, but I wanted to have my guy do it professionally, so they're going to be worth the wait. And if you think Donald Trump is having a rough life these days, imagine being Ron DeSantis and listening to and believing the Republican establishment whispering into his ear that when the indictments come, Donald Trump's political career is going to be finished. He's going to tank in the polls. Nobody's going to support him. Only his poll numbers have skyrocketed, and Ron DeSantis' campaign has cratered. And instead of vigorously defending Donald Trump against the deep state, against these trumped-up charges, against the Marxist revolution that we're in the midst of, he's just still running for president, and this was his response to Donald Trump's latest arrest.
Governor, what do you think about this split screen of you here in the Field of Dreams and former President Trump being arrested in Georgia?
Well, I'm glad I'm at the Field of Dreams. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah,
challenging Donald Trump for the presidency is going to be the biggest mistake of Ron DeSantis' life. Instead of just standing down and waiting to see what happened, or to see if maybe he would drop out to deal with the charges, or to see if he has a health issue, which he still may, and have to drop out, he could have easily then entered the race and been a heroic savior, cheered by the entire party.
Vivek would have
but
beat him
instead,
still.
His campaign has been an utter embarrassment, and the longer it goes on, the dumber he looks. Like I said, I'm going to get the Trump mugshot shirts as soon as I can. I'm going to replace this mock-up photo that I put out a couple months ago with the actual mugshot. There's
That's
another
going to be
design
awesome.
that I'm working
Wanted
on
for
as well.
president.
Get them out.
That's
going to
be awesome.
So depending on when you're watching this, they might be.
Yeah, Mark Dice. Check out his shirts that he's gonna have out. He's probably gonna have some funny ones. He's probably gonna do them a bunch of them. Yeah, I'm excited about the mugshot. You know, I've been waiting for it. It's a historical picture. The left is dumb. They're so dumb. Like, come on, what are you thinking? This literally is going to be the most famous picture in history. What does Trump always wanted? Trump loves this. He probably rehearsed that thing for years. That's why it looks so iconic. It looks awesome. Perfect. It's a perfect mugshot. You know, other people say it. It's not for me to say, but I think it's a perfect mugshot. You know, that's awesome. He's just going in for that mugshot. Oh, that's awesome. And they just cemented him in history. I think that's why Trump, a lot of it was why he ran for president. I think it was to help the country. I definitely believe that. But on top of that, I think he wanted to be cemented in history, right? He puts Trump on everything, right? So now my name's going to be cemented in history because of this mugshot. The only his president in history. They don't know what they're doing at all. They're just trying to get some money campaigning on it. They don't understand, wow, you just did this and you just cemented Trump. You gave him exactly what he wanted. Exactly what he wanted. He just got it. And the left handed it to him like it was a bad thing. Like, no, we got to do the mug shot. You know, it's going to make him look bad and I can campaign on it. Well, maybe so, but he can campaign on it too. And, you know, that's how it goes. But with that, let's move on to the next story. Donald Trump posted back on X, a.k.a. Twitter. Here's a clip. Oh, the meme's so funny at the beginning of this. We were so good at making memes. Brock Lesnar or Donald Lesnar? Brock Trump. Love
Well,
it.
the Don is back.
He's back.
The return of the Mac. In fact, the Don has not only burst back onto the scene last night with what I would consider a pretty genius marketing move. He has returned to Twitter. Now, I believe.
Yeah, especially just because him and Tucker just did that huge interview. 200 million views. It probably kind of convinced him to get back on there, right? He's like, whoa. You know, what do they say? 20% of those are actually real views, but that's 40 million people. That is huge.
Might be a one-off return to Twitter and a fundraising attempt, but it sure is fun to think that he'll be on there calling, dropping more classic pearls like I've never seen a thin person drinking Diet Coke, or the people at Coke don't like me very much. I'll keep drinking their garbage anyway, or all this kind of stuff. I think many of us, whether or not you want to vote for Trump, have to admit he's extremely entertaining. And yesterday, he was arrested. He showed up in Georgia, Fulton County, to take his mugshot. And by the way, this mugshot goes hard. I mean, that is a great mugshot.
Yeah, perfect mugshot.
I don't know what else
It's the best mugshot.
I mean, it goes hard.
People tell me, I don't say it, but people tell me it's the best mugshot.
In the very same moment, when it hits the internet, he tweets out, mugshot, August 24th, 2023. This is what he also posted on Truth Social. It has 1.2 million likes, 144 million impressions on Twitter. That interaction rate is extremely high.
Yeah, his big ones on Truth get like 5,000. So 1 million. Wow, that is just wow. 1 million likes, 33,000 bookmarks, 280,000 reposts. Like I said, on Truth, he gets like 5,000 reposts around that for his big ones. Wow, 1.2 million likes. Get back on X, Trump. Definitely keep doing Truth. It's your business, So that's sick. You're like getting some money from it. But Twitter, X, whatever they're calling it nowadays, is huge.
Quote tweets
compared to Truth.
285,000 reposts. It is by far, I guess, in recent history, it has far surpassed any other post he's made. This got 1.2 million likes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's very common that he gets,
It makes sense. The right loves it and the left loves it. So they're just reposting it. On the left, they're all talking trash about it. And then the right is like, yeah, mugshot.
700,000, 500,000. It's hard to see. I don't know if he's ever broken 1 million likes. It might be a record breaker for him. It's probably going to make returning to Twitter much more difficult.
Like I was just saying in the last segment, it's like the left just gave him exactly what he wanted. That's going to be the most famous picture in history. And that's what Trump wanted this whole time, right? Is to just be famous. He obviously loves the fame. And now he puts his name on everything. And now they just made it the only president in American history to have a mug shot. Right? And now they just gave it to him, and they think they're winning. Like the left is like, yeah, we got him. He's getting locked up. Okay, he's definitely not. He didn't break any laws, so he's not. But now he has a mugshot. He's going to be the only president to have a mugshot. I mean, Joe Biden might have one too, but he'll be the first. And Biden's boring anyway. No one will even care.
For him because of the massive audience. Not returning to Twitter, staying away from Twitter, much more difficult. Of course, in the comment section,
learn how to talk.
You have absolute meme gold. Here's one of his all-time bangers. I've never seen a thin person drinking Diet Coke. Elon in the replies, welcome back, Mr. President. Everything is ready.
His aspartame makes you. It's worse than sugar.
Then, of course, retribution memes. All of his
retribution.
I got Blue Steel. I got almost 5,000 likes on this.
There you go.
It's Blue Steel, STEAL.
Stealing.
That's kind of purposeful. And you see just immense support in the comment section down below. What's interesting about it is you don't see a lot of leftists like having meltdowns, or they're drowned out probably because they're not paid Twitter's X people, but you see Tim Young. This is the best return to Twitter /X ever. Catchers is Bam Bam and Bam. You just have all these people turning him into. This is one of my favorite memes from Mostly Peaceful Memes. Oh my God, it even has a watermark showing Trump's mugshot. It's very interesting. This on the heels of literally the next day after he interviews with Tucker Carlson and gets 20, 30, 40 million views of that interview. This is what's interesting about Trump. There's nobody like it. There's nobody like him. There isn't. And the memes have begun flowing. You see Donald Trump's mugshot sends social media into a frenzy with memes and jokes. You see it's in the social media frenzy, the internet has exploded with a wave of creative memes and humorous posts after the release of the official mugshot of the former president, Donald Trump. The image, which quickly went viral, has sparked a multitude of reactions from users. The image shows a stern-faced Trump in what appears to be a standard booking photo. The former president is wearing a blue suit, red tie in the photo. Within moments of the image hitting the internet, hashtags such as Trump mugshot and orange is the new orange began trending on X. Others defended Trump with the hashtag mypresident. Trump himself posted the photo on his Twitter account with the caption.
The guy is unbelievably famous. Look, I think it's crazy how Taylor Swift can sell out 3 stadiums in Dallas, or a stadium in Dallas 3 nights in a row. Then she goes to New Jersey, does the same thing, goes to LA and does the same thing. Trump might be bigger than her. That's wild how famous the guy is, and he loves it.
And here are the top funniest and wackiest. You see this. Trump's official White House portrait unveiled. It will be hung in the White House bunker where no other president has ever, quote, visited. You've got some leftoids who are think Obama took his picture. Again, spot the difference, difficulty, impossible between him and Blue Steel. Or I think this might be Magnum. I don't remember exactly. You have all these people. Trump is mean mugging the camera. This is so funny. I mean, I love it.
This is awesome.
Jackie Wilson's higher and higher in a mobile Statue of Liberty. Immediately, he looks like, I think this is
Ghostbusters.
Vigo
right?
the Carpathian.
Vigo. Yeah.
Is that what it was?
It's from Ghostbusters, I think so. It's been a long time, but
hilarious. Now, there are lefties who are like, ha, 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 this is amazing. We got him.
Yeah, the leftists, they don't know.
They
don't know what they're doing.
I don't suspect, even for a moment, that he will be convicted of any of these things.
He might be convicted, but he's going to win on appeal of any of these. He's going to win on appeal, so.
Explained many times to people who are asking about it, who aren't following it. The process is the punishment. These people, you have to be a Republican to get punished for, denying the results. It's, quite simply obvious.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton did it.
Stacey Abrams did it. For example,
yep.
Going on nonstop talking about how hers was stolen and all this kind of stuff. But when Trump does it, it's hilarious. It's the double standard is absolutely hilarious to me. And the return, will he return? I don't know.
That 40 million views he got on that Tucker interview is
they're already selling merch.
Is probably
so if you go to the
driving
Donald J.
factor.
Trump website, you see here it's obviously about fundraising. You all know my feelings about giving political candidates money. Feels a little bit different with Trump, but I stand by it. He writes, today I was notoriously violated. Today I was at the terrible jail in Fulton County, in Georgia. I was arrested despite having committed no crime. American people know what's going on. What has taken place is a travesty of justice and election interference. The left wants to intimidate you out of voting for a political outsider who put American people first.
Yeah.
But today I walked into the Lions Den with one simple message on behalf of our entire movement. I will never surrender to our America. I will never surrender our mission to save America. But if you can, make a contribution. Of course, everything always asks about money. Now, I always prefer a little different approach to it. I prefer what they're doing is selling merch. The new line of mugshot-inspired gear appeared on Trump's 2024 presidential. If you're going to give money to Trump, at least get a cool T-shirt out of it. That's how I feel. Like you
I'm gonna
should try
get
to
one.
sell something to get money if you
I'm
can.
gonna get one. Put it, wear it on my
T-shirts,
videos.
Long-sleeve shirts, koozies, a coffee mug. The tagline under the mugshot official mega gear states "Never surrender" in all caps. Again, I think it should have said blue steel. You know, that's just me.
I don't know why he
you
likes blue
have-
steel.
I think Trump
I think that's a
Jr.
comic book
tweeted it
character.
out.
I don't know what
but,
that is.
You know, this is the stuff I would rather see. It's genius because it cuts off all the Etsy store stealers. I guess this image is public record, so I don't know what the actual laws are around creating, creating.
I think you can do it.
Profiting from it.
No, you
But
can do it.
If you look at their store, which I also think is,
But then Trump has
just
official
simply
stuff.
Genius. By the way, if you're not following me on X yet, please do consider that.
Shameless
But
plug.
Donald Trump Jr.
Same thing with
tweeted out
me.
here on
X.com/David Carson
shopdonaldjr.com,
Show.
Free Trump collection. All profits go to the legal defense fund.
Shameless
so like, if I was
plug.
going to donate, this is what I would do. Get a coffee mug. You
It's
could run it for
crazy.
President for 4 more
The left might end up actually buying some of him and donating to him inadvertently. That would be hilarious. What was that one movie? I think it was Daily Wire. I don't remember what it was. And the left loved it, and then they found out it was Daily Wire. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. How funny is that? They might inadvertently buy Trump gear. Wow, I just realized this. Yeah, they might inadvertently buy Trump gear and just donate to Trump. Inadvertently. Oh, this is so genius. Trump is the ultimate guy at doing this type of stuff, like the branding and this type of stuff. Like, yeah, the Trump water and all that stuff. Oh, man, that's awesome. That's hilarious.
years. Free Trump. Free Trump. Free Trump. This is what you do with this kind of stuff is you monetize it. It's just like we talk about all the time, monetizing your haters. It's extremely important to do that. And that's how you generate funds. Now you see, let's check in on MSNBC, for example, having a meltdown. MSNBC is now referring to Trump as inmate PO1135809, and they don't understand why we don't take the media seriously. Inmate PO1135809 running for president.
Stupid.
If that's real, if that's not a Photoshop, I don't know.
It's probably a
Since we are
Photoshop.
So deeply in the clown world, it's difficult to know. I think that
Yeah, and you
it's
can't even
really
know nowadays.
weird
That's insane. If it's a
that
meme or
people
not
are
a
getting
meme.
off on
I
this
think it's probably a
mugshot.
meme.
Now, I feel like if it were Hillary, people on the right would probably be having just as much fun, but he hasn't been convicted of anything. He's been indicted, he's been charged, but he has not been found guilty. He has not even had his chance to stand trial. There are some people who also think he has some sort of pocket.
It's just
pardon
giving him more fame.
to perhaps,
If he
pardon
needs it, even
himself.
if he can, it's even possible.
I don't know. They
keep
talked
him in
on
the conversation.
RNC stage the other night.
Before these indictments, I've said this in other videos. Before his indictment, Trump was getting a bit boring. You know, I think his rallies were still pretty packed. But now, after his indictment, man, everyone's talking about Trump all the time. Trump, 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 Trump. They made such a huge mistake. They're like, we're going to get him and throw him into jail. He probably still would have won without the indictment, but now everybody is rallying behind Trump because of this. It's just backfiring so hardcore. It's hilarious.
About if something happened to Trump, would they pardon? If they won the election, would they pardon Trump? I think Vivek Ramaswamy was probably the only one that said he would.
No, that's not what they asked.
I think
he said no. So what happened is they asked them if Trump goes to jail. So they signed an oath to join the debate. They would support the eventual nominee. And then they said, well, the moderator's like, well, if he goes to jail, would you still support him? Vivek's like, instantly. And then everyone else, like Nikki Haley and then Tim Scott. Right, so it's just like Ron DeSantis, and then Mike Pence was last. Chris Christie acts like he's doing this. He's like, looks like he's like, no. Chris Christie is just, why is he even there? Don't even get it. But yeah, so then Vivek Ramaswamy, he's like, hey, Mike Pence, why don't you join me in a pledge to say that I'll pardon Trump? And he's like, no, you just assume you're gonna get it. He's not gonna. You think he's gonna get convicted? It's just like, bro, come on. Come on, Mike. Well, Mike already betrayed him, so what a surprise. And he just backpedaled, and he's just like, no, I'm not gonna pardon. I'll consider it. Ramaswamy's like, I'll pardon him. I don't care.
The interesting thing is, this is just going to make him more famous.
That's what I was just saying.
Going to make people be more, galvanized in their support of him. It's one of the
what's that thing? What's that saying? Living rent free in people's brains. It's just, that's what happens.
Stupidest thing. It's what these prosecutors essentially.
I think Trump loves it.
They're trying to make a name for themselves to get reelected. I'm the guy that got Trump. Alvin Bragg, for example. All these people are corrupt.
Yeah. Super
all
corrupt.
I can do is hope that he, is rightfully justified and he gets a fair trial and he is freed.
There's
or
appeals if he doesn't.
First, which is probably what will happen. There's nobody. I mean, whether you like it or not, I respect everyone, for liking who they want for the election, and
Definitely.
they should vote for who they want, not just because someone's a front runner. But
I'd
with
agree.
recent polling and everything, Trump is by far and away orders of magnitude for ahead of
See what you
everyone
did
else.
there.
So, and if the guy's not in jail, he's going to likely be the Republican nominee. If the other candidates would endorse him outside of Chris Christie, who probably wouldn't,
Doesn't matter.
it would be interesting to see.
I saw a video earlier about the polls after these indictments. He's nationwide in these polls, 56 to 68%, and DeSantis has like 15 to 18%, and he's in second place. Like, no, there's no way he can catch up. And then with him and Biden, it's within the margin of error. Biden, how corrupt polls are. He's only ahead by like 2-3 points. I think the max is 5, and then compared to 2020. Biden was like way ahead at this point. He's like 15 points ahead. Polls are corrupt. That's why. But even with their corrupt polls, only they're within the margin of error. Insanity. And this was CNN reporting this.
And one would wonder if Joe Biden could get 875 bazillion votes again. I'm pretty sure Trump will. I'm pretty sure people will show up for Trump now.
I love that one. He doesn't have it in full frame. But that one is Joe Biden spelling it. Looks
one
Looks
spectacular
so That's
backfire.
great.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do subscribe down below. We'll talk to or follow, whatever it's called, and we'll talk to you guys.
Whatever it is. Man, I love this. The mugshot. He's returning to X/Twitter, whatever you call it now. That is amazing. That's really, really funny. And like I was just saying, like Tucker and him just did that huge thing exclusively on X. Yeah, so now he got 40 million. Trump probably doesn't even get it either. You know how the impressions work? So 200 million impressions, they say it's views, and he's reading it in the media. He's probably like, damn, that's insane. I really got to get back on X. That's insane. 200 million views. So, yeah, it's really funny. I think he might actually stick around on there. I mean, like, I think he has some contract with Truth where he has to post on there first. But what are they going to do? They're like his friends. If he just doesn't do it, do you think they're actually going to care? Like, bring legal action? Who cares what the contract says? He's just going to do what he wants. Especially during the campaign season. Yeah, he's just gonna go in, I think. But, only time will tell. But he'll just probably do more exclusive stuff with Elon or with Tucker on there. And then he's like in an alliance with Elon probably. So, man, this is kind of exciting, exciting times. It's funny, the left is like trying to indict him and like saying, like trying to do all this stuff to get him in jail. And he's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just backfiring on him. I personally, I love it. I think it's hilarious. But with that, let's move on to the next story. Biden extends lavish vacation as Americans struggle with inflation. Of course he does. Let's play a clip.
Peter Ducey is covering the Bidenomics push from the North Lawn. Peter, what are we hearing about this?
Sandra, we've been hearing for months now that if the Fed can just raise interest rates, then inflation is going to come down to 2%. Hasn't happened yet, and now they are admitting that their forecasts and their calculations may not be quite right.
We are attentive to signs that the economy may not be cooling as expected. So far this year, GDP growth has come in above expectations and above its longer-run trend. And recent readings on consumer spending have been especially robust.
White House officials do not ever publicly comment on the Fed's moves. President Biden has said from the start of this financial crisis that he trusts the Fed to do the right thing independently. But this is coming up more and more on the campaign trail from candidates who might like to make some changes at the top of the Fed.
Interest rates are over 7% on a 30-year fixed mortgage. That ain't going to work.
My daughter just got married. I saw how hard it was for her and her husband to buy a home.
High interest rates, inflation, these things are choking every American.
Bidenomics is supposed to be all about making things more affordable, but Bidenomics does not do anything for mortgage rates or interest rates. And if we have it in the control room, if we could put up the picture inside the White House right now of the event in the East Room that's about to start, the WNBA champion Las Vegas Aces are to be honored. And the podium right there, you see it's got the vice president's seal. When they initially announced this event, it said the president and the first lady were going to host the Aces today. But then they extended their vacation. They were supposed to get back yesterday. Now they don't get back until tomorrow.
Scheduled events,
so
they
that
don't
is how
care.
you wind up getting feted at the White House by the vice president instead of by the president. We don't know what he's doing today, but his motorcade is on the move somewhere in the South Lake Tahoe area. So we'll keep you posted on that.
With so much going on, it is interesting to know how light both of their schedules, the president and vice president, has been. Peter, thank you very much.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah, insanity. I'm not surprised at all, though. This is what Biden's always on vacation. I was looking it up last night. It's like 360 days, and they're probably not even counting these ones. I just realized that. I Googled it yesterday, and I didn't look at the date of the article. But yeah, the 360 days. He's been president for 3 years? Less than 3 years. And he's taken a year vacation. And people talk trash about Trump. They're like, Trump, he's always golfing and all this stuff. He's golfing with all. Trump, if you read his books, he talks about how golfing's awesome for camaraderie and doing business deals. So you can do two things at once. I mean, golfing, if you've never played golf, you hit a ball and then you drive to where your ball is. You're not just sitting there with basketball or something just playing and not talking. What are you going to do when you go to your next ball? You hit a ball and then hang out. You know, that's how golf is. So then they talk trash about Trump, but then they don't care about Biden. The left doesn't. Fascinating. But with that, let's move on to the next story. Yeah, this one's kind of messed up. Black Voices for Trump director arrested without bail. Here's a clip.
This is where it gets crazy, ladies and gentlemen. Director of Black Voices for Trump is held in jail without bond. Harrison Floyd becomes the first MAGA ally to be booked behind bars in the Georgia election fraud case. No bond. They're starting light. I think they're not locking everybody up because they're slow rolling it. They know they can't shock the system. But this story's crazy. Look at this. He says, apparently FBI went to his house to serve him, and he said, "Who the F do you think you are?" Floyd allegedly screamed. The affidavit says, describing that Floyd was standing chest to chest with the agent after knocking him backward with his body. In Georgia, Floyd is accused, alongside Stephen Cliffgard Lee, a police chaplain, and Trevian Cootie, Kanye West's former publicist, of pressuring poll worker Ruby Freeman into falsely saying she committed election fraud. Freeman and her daughter, Shay Moss, who gave tearful testimony to the House Select Committee on January 6th, were subjects of a conspiracy theory echoed by Trump and his allies. This is the crazy thing. Did these people genuinely believe she committed fraud? And they were going to her being like, "What did you do? We saw videos."
Apparently that's illegal now.
Criminal act. And now I don't trust the government. Apparently they're saying that he assaulted an FBI agent. He was charged with attacking an FBI agent. Well, I strongly recommend you don't do that.
Yeah.
Who was working with special counsel Jack Smith's parallel probe in 2020, election interference by Trump and his allies. The Washington Post reported Wednesday.
As usual, I question that even happened. It could have. I don't know. I don't know the guy. I've never heard of him before this, so I don't know. But the media lies all the time. The FBI does too. Remember that Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan and the the FBI. There was like 20 people on like 15 of them or something. Don't quote me on this because I know I'm getting the numbers off. But like 15 of them were FBI agents and only 5 people, and they didn't even really want to do it. The FBI was coercing them. So it's like, oh, I don't know. I need more
David
evidence.
says Floyd body slammed an agent who arrived at his Rockville, Maryland home to subpoena him.
Body slamming. Ever since that Trump meme, they call tackling body slamming. A body slam, you pick someone up, flip them upside down, and slam them on the ground. If he did that to an I highly doubt that in a real fight, you're never going to see that. I've been watching UFC for almost 20 years. I've never seen anyone actually do that in like a real fight. It's not real. A tackle, a takedown, yeah, that's not a body slam.
For a federal grand jury in Washington, D.C. So my question is, what is he being charged with in Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Held without bond in Georgia. He was charged with racketeering, conspiracy to solicit false statements, and influencing witnesses. So the FBI thinks a totally different case. He's being charged very similar to many of these other defendants, and they're not letting him out. Things are getting crazy, ladies and gentlemen. The Krasensteins, you got to love them. They have no limit. They will feign reasonableness. And then they're like, I agree with the charges against Trump's lawyers for the simple fact they provided him legal counsel. And it's just like, I'm like, dude, you guys have to have a limit, right? Like, they're going to start rounding people up onto trains, and the Krasensteins are going to be like, well, now hold on. We don't know exactly why they're rounding people up. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Dude, they are Jenna Ellis is being criminally charged.
Krasensteins, this is how they get famous, though, because they just say ridiculous stuff. They're grifters. They don't believe this stuff. Come on.
Under RICO.
Get some famous. They're always in my Twitter notifications. I don't even like the people. I never read their stuff, but all the time, there they are in my notifications. It's like, I disabled the Twitter notifications. I'm like, X, whatever.
For simply being Trump's lawyer. That's it. She didn't do anything else. That's it. Part of a conspiracy. Insane.
Think about it. It works, though, because now everybody's going to be afraid to represent Trump or any Republican figure or anybody else. So
he says that, but he just got a prominent lawyer that's represented like Usher and stuff, right? So it's just like, I don't know. People still want to represent him. It makes him more famous. And if you could get Trump off, like, he's gets so much money. He doesn't care. He's like, yeah, come after me, bro. Come at me, bro. You know, I'm like, he could probably just defend himself, this new lawyer Trump got. He's whatever. Let's go. That's what's funny about this is almost all these people they're trying to get for all this stuff in Georgia, they're like all lawyers. It's like, let's just go after all these prominent lawyers. That's going to work out.
It's effective.
Which goes back to my point that I was making before. You know, I really think this is about intimidation. I said this,
but I don't think it's going to work.
Too.
I just posted a video yesterday, a segment of Rudy Giuliani. He doesn't care. He's like, maybe I should have smiled in my mugshot. I didn't, but I thought about it. So he doesn't even care. He's like, I'm just going to win.
Establishment, as in, when I say the establishment, I mean the bureaucracy that's in D.C. and likely the Democrat Party and their allies in the media. They don't want people to defend Trump. They want people to be afraid to associate with Trump.
The Trump statement is up. Let's play the video. It's only 1 minute long. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. They did very well to have him just walk up slowly.
I really believe this is a very sad day for America. This should never happen. If you challenge an election, you should be able to challenge an election. I thought the election was a rigged election, a stolen election, and I should have every right to do that. As you know, you have many people that you've been watching over the years do the same thing, whether it's Hillary Clinton or Stacey Abrams or many others. When you have that great freedom to challenge, you have to be able to, otherwise you're going to have very dishonest elections. What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. And everybody knows it. I've never had such support. And that goes with the other ones, too. What they're doing is election interference. They're trying to interfere with an election. There's never been anything like it in our country before. This is their way of campaigning. And this is one instance, but you have 3 other instances. It's election interference.
Yeah, I agree. And my question is this. If the Democrats are campaigning, as Trump said, off of this, and they are, this Fulton DA launched a fundraiser, then Republicans will have no choice but to campaign on the exact same issue in the other direction.
Yeah.
And if the Democrats are saying, vote for us and we will imprison anyone you hate, and the Trump supporters are saying, we will get revenge and go after those who are weaponizing the legal system, where does this end?
It doesn't. It's like a
With
South
Fani
Korea,
was
from what I
good in
understand.
prison.
The last several leaders have all been in prison. So it's like as soon as the next party gets in, the last party guy gets locked up.
Yeah.
And it
sounds like Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
So-
I don't think it ends with just getting locked up. The Democrats are saying we will crush you.
Yeah.
The Republicans mostly sitting on their hands. But if a tit for tat does arise, if Trump gets reelected, the revenge will not just be on the deep state for everything they did during his first term. It's going to be on everyone right now for everything they're doing.
Yeah, I feel like Kemp's going to have a really hard time when Trump gets elected.
He'll be
gonna rough.
federally indicted.
How could he not be?
If Trump gets, here's my prediction. If Trump gets reelected, election fraud charges across the board and tons of governors face, maybe not tons, maybe a handful. We're probably going to see a bunch of Democrat officials. I imagine they'll be charged. If Trump wins, I cannot imagine a man so obsessed with 2020 does not remain obsessed with 2020. And then, as we've already seen, you can indict a ham sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
So the people who are like, there's no evidence Trump wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah, that's not an issue.
What's the evidence for
Gets
Trump?
in and he gets an AG that is totally on board, you're going to see whatever they need pop up and there will be charges.
And I have to assume that this makes Trump even more appealing to people who are genuinely critical of the criminal justice system, right? Like people who feel like it's corrupted already for non-political reasons are looking at what's happening to Trump and saying, oh yeah, so he's experiencing it too. None of us are safe. He is, in some ways, becoming more of a candidate for people I would assume would typically vote for the Democratic Party because they're always saying, we'll fix this and Republicans
Working
are trying to
class.
lock you up. Yeah, exactly.
I do not share your optimism about new Trump voters. But that being said, one of the things that I noticed that I really liked that he said, I believed it was a rigged election. And it was that kind of verbiage, articulating it properly really, 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 really matters because they are going to have to try to convince the jury that he believed that he lost. Correct. And that he believed that it was a fair loss and he knew he was violating the law. They have to prove to a jury that what he believed. They have to prove what was in his head. And the only person that can screw that up is Donald Trump.
Yeah, his lawyers were like, oh my goodness, thank goodness he said it the right way.
Yeah.
There's no ad lib here.
Because he's already got it's already loaded against him. He's got a bunch of things stacked against him when it comes to people prosecuting him and stuff. And if he's not minding his P's and Q's, he can put himself into a significant problem.
Well, I hope that when Trump wins re-election, assuming he does, as he begins instructing the AG to go after people, we get a really cool montage with like Staying Alive by the Bee Gees and having sunglasses, putting them on. And then there's like a montage of like indicted. Trump should have
He just wants
indicted
some
people
memes.
in
That's
his first
hilarious.
term. Trump should have launched investigations. When they were investigating him for Russiagate,
He wanted to. And then Jeff Sessions just didn't play ball, and either Bill Barr, right? The next guy, he put Bill Barr in there temporarily because he thought he's going to win the presidency again. And he's like, I just want it to be temporary. He doesn't trust anybody. He started calling Jeff Sessions Mr. Magoo because he wouldn't do anything he thought he would do. And Bill Barr was very similar. He didn't go have Trump's back at all. Bill Barr did. Neither of them did. But Trump thought they would. That is something about Trump. He needs to, if he gets reelected, which I think he will, he needs to be really more like scrutiny, have a lot more scrutiny on the people he hires. Because he's like, oh, my advisors say they're good, but your advisors aren't good. Maybe that's the problem, which is crazy because like him campaigning, he's like second to none. Like Ron DeSantis is like a D, pun intended, and then Trump is like an A, right? It's A plus. His campaign is awesome. Like now they have those mugshot, the mugshot merch and everything. Yeah, so they have all of that, and this campaign is fantastic. I think his ads are awesome. They're striking. They're great ads. Everything he does with the campaign, awesome. His rallies are always good. But then when he becomes president, not so much. It's really interesting.
he should have immediately said, we are going to investigate the lies. Trump should have countered immediately. And I'm not ragging on him for not knowing the future. I'm saying hindsight is 2020. Trump could have said,
no pun
my
intended.
fellow Americans,
2020.
Currently, there are political partisans that are accusing the highest office in this country of being subservient to Vladimir Putin and the Russians. This is sedition. This is a lie. The American people have spoken. So we will be bolstering the investigation into these claims, but making sure it is
like I said, he wanted to do
holistic
this. Jeff
and covers
Sessions wouldn't
all
do it.
ground, and
His
we
AG
figure
wouldn't
out
play ball.
who is pushing the narrative and why. He could have said, yeah, I'm on board. Here's my guy joining in, and then gone after Democrats for the Steele dossier, for instance. Why did it take so long for us to figure out that Hillary Clinton was the one backing that stuff?
Well, he needed people to tell him to do that because keep in mind, he was not a politician.
If Tucker Carlson had just said it one time, Tucker,
No, again, he
then
wanted to
Trump
do
would
it.
have been like, I
Jeff
was
Sessions just
watching
would've done it.
Tucker. He says I should investigate. I'll do it, and then he would have done it, and we wouldn't be here right now.
Come on, Tucker. What are you doing? No, I mean, I think there are a lot of things that I wish Trump had done while he was in office, and obviously we can't go back. My concern would be that he doesn't do
Hired bad
something
people.
going forward. So if he's reelected, I would like to see some kind of action. I mean, you
think
were saying
everyone
before the show
agrees with
that Jim Jordan's investigation on Fani Willis, you felt like maybe he should have called it earlier.
Oh, yeah. Hello. What time is it? I mean, how long ago was he charged? Is Congress that slow? You can't put it together. You can't say, hey, you know what, Fanny? How about you come up here Thursday? How about Thursday the 24th? Come on in front of Congress. That would have been beautiful. So while Trump is getting arrested, Fanny could be testifying in front of Congress and enjoying her day in another location.
Yeah.
Yep. New thought.
Because I assume she's down there hanging out with all her friends, being like, our work is accomplished. Good job, everybody.
And she should be sweating bullets, but they're doing nothing. Thanks for watching this clip from
exactly. The Republicans are pretty much just useless. Yeah. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like, the left is doing all this stuff, and you don't even protect the front runner who's most likely going to win. There's like, whatever. I guess they are trying to investigate her. I mean, they're doing stuff against Hunter Biden and everything. So, I don't know. I guess we'll just see how it plays out. But I agree. I think that the right needs to do a lot more to start investigating these people. And like the Georgia, like a second GOP member just came on to want to impeach Fani Willis. It's like, how does the entire state legislature not want to impeach her? I think it's very interesting. With that, let's move on to the next story. Oliver Anthony is facing backlash after clarifying the meaning of Richmond north of Richmond. Yeah, so I think this is interesting. He's getting a bunch of backlash from the right. I think you guys know who he is. He just hit #1 on Billboard. Unprecedented. Very, very interesting. And now, like, the right's mad at him because apparently he has a fake accent and he just has like a slight southern twang and it's not like his songs. I don't care about that. And then also he came out and he said, well, the best thing about America is diversity. So then the right's like, wait, what? But how can you really disagree with that? I mean, like diversity, like affirmative action. I don't think that's what he's talking about. He's just saying we're such a melting pot and that's what makes America great. That is what makes America great. It's like equal rights for everybody. And the culture just all coming together is awesome. Like look at the architecture, look at music, look at it. There's a reason why we're the entertainment hub of the world. You know, we get all these different cultures together and we blend them. And that's traditionally why America's so awesome. It's like, how can you disagree with that? I think they just said diversity and people took it the wrong way. They're like the diversity hires and the BlackRock stuff, you know, affirmative action. It's like, I don't think that's what he meant. I think he just meant all the cultures come together. That's why the architecture and stuff is so interesting. Well, you go to like Venice, right? And it's cool. I like Venice, but it all looks the same. I live in Austin and like every new building looks different, right? And then he also was saying he thought it was really funny. We'll play a clip and you get more specific with this. But then he was also saying that they were playing it at the Republican debate. And he's just like, it's just hilarious because you have to listen to this. And those politicians up there, this is what I wrote the song about. It's not just like Joe Biden or it's way bigger than Joe Biden. And then people are mad at him because of it. I was like, he's just, I'm just for small government. He's like, I like small town values, more local stuff. And I can definitely get behind that. And the diversity thing too. I think I agree with him. You know, again, forced diversity and like companies, who likes that? Affirmative? No, people, I don't think he's saying that. He's just saying us all blending together and we're all from different ways of life. we all have different backgrounds and everything. And we come together and we can do great things because everyone has different perspectives. So I agree with him on that. And then again, on just, the small town values. And he was saying like Republicans are just as bad as Democrats. How can you disagree? Like Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, These people, Kevin McCarthy. I don't even know why he's getting backlash, but let's play a clip and get more details.
So music sensation Oliver Anthony of Richmond, north of Virginia, says government will not save us.
No, the government.
Wrote a song, when I went out for this general public for its meeting to stop relying on someone 100 or 500 miles away from them to solve their problems for them, he added. You see here. Here's
government. What I want out of this, like to the general public, it's for people to, I guess, for one, to stop relying on
somewhere or someone too far away. He talks about community. He talks about, small town values.
Yeah, I don't really understand why he's getting backlash. I guess people are just seeing a quote. Seeing a quote and not actually listening to what he's actually saying. Because, why is this guy getting backlash from this? The song speaks for itself, right? You'd think they would already be thinking that. I think a lot of Republicans are, getting behind it. And they're like, okay, this is my type of song. But it's about government being bad in general. And, I mean, if people really stop and think about it, like I was saying, Lindsey Graham, Kevin McCarthy, Mitch McConnell, even people on the right, they agree with this. I don't think they're listening to the whole, what he's actually saying and trying to wrap their head around it.
Nobody in the federal government's coming to save us.
Definitely.
And he's probably right.
He's definitely right.
But then what happens is conservatives turn on Oliver Anthony after his real accent.
The Independent.
An interview. Right?
They're smear campaigning
America's diversity in an interview, infuriating his supporters. Now, this is something I talked about with people at the RNC.
I'm not infuriated.
Too. People kept saying to me, I've always said, this guy has never said he's a conservative. He's never said he loves Trump.
Yeah.
He's never said, that he's religious or that
he's like a libertarian,
he's just a musician. And in my experience, most musicians are either apolitical or leftist.
I don't think he's a leftist, though.
Now, Mr. Anthony's rich song "North of Richmond," a reference
he's
to
probably a
politicians in
libertarian.
Washington, D.C., became a viral hit.
I don't know why you would say that. A leftist, he says it's bigger than Joe Biden. He hates all politicians. I definitely wouldn't say he's a leftist. He sounds like a libertarian, small government guy.
Last week, after right-wing commenters commented on social media praised it for his raw and real messaging, they seem to have turned on Mr. Anthony after a video emerged of his, quote, real accent is not a twangy Appalachian one.
Oh, no.
Infuriating conservatives even further.
He uses an accent in a song that he doesn't actually have because it's art. Right? Like Leo DiCaprio and stuff. He's been in plenty of movies. He's in Wolf of Wall Street. He doesn't have a Boston accent. So what? It makes the song feel better, doesn't it?
The fact that Mr. Anthony also praised diversity as the United States' main strength. During a Fox News interview, Mr. Anthony, who grew
I was saying earlier, I also like the diversity. Forcing it on companies and shoehorning it into movies and stuff. I hate that. I hate it. But, I love going out and meeting people from all these different cultures, different accents. Not everyone was born here. It's really interesting. That's what's amazing about America. Everyone comes here from all walks of life. It keeps stuff very interesting.
Up in North Carolina, speaks with what sounds like a typical American accent.
So what?
I mean, while we are the melting pot of the world.
Again, actors do the same thing in movies. So what? It makes the song feel better. If you had an American accent in that song, it wouldn't be as good. Him having that country twang accent, it just makes the song better. It really does.
Mr. Anthony told the interviewer in the video, and that's what makes us strong is our diversity, and we need to learn to harness that and appreciate it and not use it as a political tool to keep everyone separate from each other.
Yeah, exactly. He makes a lot of good points, and we have harnessed it since the foundation of America. All these cultures coming together to make good music, dance, film. There's a reason why America's biggest export is our art and our culture, because we have so much diverse opinions and different culture. They blend together, and it just makes some awesome stuff.
An ex-user who pinned tweet has links to videos praising a leader of the American party, Mr. Anthony, an algorithm-boosted based red beard hillbilly song who's faking his accent.
Faking.
That's what they referred to him.
Faking is, again, actors fake their accents. So what? It makes the art better.
The user also took offense to the fact that the singer said that diversity is our strength, and they were not only the only one lashing out at Mr. Anthony. One user said he was trying to become a rich man north of Richmond, while others came to the conclusion of Mr. Anthony's left-wing
Probably
critics
must be rich, but
already voiced that he is an
DC
industry
rich,
plant meant to enrapture Republican consumers starving for conservative media.
It could be. He could be an industry plant. It doesn't really strike me like he doesn't strike me as that, but it's hard to spot industry plants. It really is. He might have just wrote a good song and it just blew up. Doesn't mean he's an industry plant. It doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it's really hard to say. Like Billie Eilish was an industry plant, and it's really hard to tell.
These companies are testing waters to see if they can create fake Republican singers to make more money off Republican demographic. It's probably true.
Could be.
And if it works, people won't see the bigger picture, and there's no visible hand. It's only a corporate string. Popular commentator Craig T. Nelson found the conservatives' swift reversal entertaining. Conservatives got a hold of a clip of the AstroTurfed country song guy saying America is a melting pot. Now he's effing canceled.
Yeah,
also
why
potential
I don't know if
agent
he's
they
canceled,
wrote.
but
here's the thing.
It's interesting that rubs people the wrong way. I kind of get it because of all the DEI and just all this nonsense with diversity. But I mean, like, if you really think of real diversity, then like if it's not forced on anyone, like the country as a whole, that's awesome. Everyone comes here. I think that's what made America great in the first place. Everyone wanted to come here, all these different cultures and stuff. Like I was saying already, I feel like a broken record at this point, but yeah, it's like everyone comes together and we blend ideas, and it just makes really good stuff.
I think diversity is a strength.
No, he agrees.
Of thought. It isn't inherently a strength if there isn't diversity of thought.
It's not inherent, but
that diversity of thought can come from a diverse group of people.
Most of the time.
What he's saying here isn't.
I mean, if it's forced, and if there's like how all the Middle Eastern people are going into Europe and the culture is all different. I don't know about that, because then you just have two cultures clashing. But you have a true melting pot like America. I think it's great.
Offensive to me. Again, the guy never said, I'm a conservative and I support conservatives, blah, blah, blah,
He doesn't
blah, blah.
like government.
All he's saying is, we're stronger together than apart. He's not saying like BLM or any of this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
In this quote.
I don't think that's what he. I think that's how people took it.
There's nothing wrong.
I think people took it as like BLM and affirmative action, but I don't think that's what he's saying in the slightest.
With what he said. It's if you turn on the mainstream media, it's not said a different way. Okay, said maybe how I'd refer to it is the mainstream media, and everybody wants to divide us. They want us to think that every race hates each other.
Yeah,
and
that's
fake. And even Twitter's financially incentivizing that through their monetization program now, and people just post race bait videos all day because that's where the money is. And when you divide people, they're easier to control.
I think the division isn't real. Like Crowder just did a change my mind type thing. It wasn't exactly change my mind. I forgot what he's calling it. And he talks to some black people about it, and they pretty much he talked to like 5 or 6 black people on this show this week, and they all pretty much just agreed on like everything. The differences here and there, but for the most part, they're like, oh yeah, cool. He just wanted to go and talk, and he was bringing it up like to the people he talked to. He was like, the media always wants to act like we're divided and everything. They're just like, no, we're not divided. I don't feel that way. But so the media says it. And I think that's how people took it, I guess, when he said diversity is important, which I get, because all the DEI and stuff, you need, diversity in your company, diversity training and all that. I don't think that's what he meant at all. I just think he like I've said, like he just thinks all these cultures coming together is a great thing.
I wouldn't have said it this way, but I 100% agree with what he said. That doesn't make him.
But they could have just kind of like misquoted him per se. They took it out of context. He might have elaborated more, and they just cut it out. That could definitely have been the case. That's what makes me think he's not an industry plant. Really, is the media's not on his side at all. They just seem like this article from the Independent seems like it was trying to sabotage him.
And then he released a video today. Being not mincing his words, essentially saying, yo, I'm not a conservative. I don't care about conservative government people. I'm not a government guy.
He hates politicians.
And he basically denounces Republicans claiming his song.
I guess. Putting kind of
if
a
there is
fine point
anything
on
for
it.
me to address at all with you, it's that
it's funny. He's just in a truck and it's raining.
You know, it's the one thing that has bothered me is seeing people wrap politics up into this.
See, it's like he doesn't have that country twang accent. He just has a normal American accent. He's a little Southern, and again, he just emphasized it for the song, which again, I think made the song better.
I'm disappointed to see, like, it's aggravating seeing people on conservative news try to identify with me like I'm one of them. It's aggravating seeing certain musicians and politicians act like we're buddies and
he hates politicians.
Like we're fighting the same struggle here, like that we're trying to present the same message. You know, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and I've tried to be polite to everybody, and I've talked to hundreds of people the last 2 weeks. But it seems like certain people want to just ride the attention of this song to maybe make them their own selves relevant, and that's aggravating as hell. The other thing that I find aggravating is, well, you know, like, it was funny seeing my song in the, it was funny seeing it at the presidential debate, because it's like, I wrote that song about those people, you know? So for them to have to sit there and listen to that cracks me
I
up.
like him, personally.
But it was funny kind of seeing the response to it. Like, that song has nothing to do with Joe Biden, you know?
It
It's
has
a lot
to do with
bigger
government.
than Joe Biden.
Yeah, way bigger than Joe Biden. I got exactly what he's saying.
That song is written about the people on that stage, and a lot more too. Not just them, but definitely them.
Yeah,
it's cool seeing some of my other
politicians.
music come out because people are.
I got to listen to his other music.
What he's saying is,
I got to check it out.
I don't. He just.
I wish he
doesn't
would
like
have
government,
played the rest of
right?
that clip.
He doesn't like politicians.
Yeah.
If anything,
Who does?
to
Who
me,
likes politicians?
It makes him more relatable.
Yeah, how is
I
this?
knew
How is he
right
getting
away when
backlash
the
for this?
right- I mean, when I was at the debate, everybody was playing this song.
It's a
this
good song.
And I was like, bro, you know that Republicans are just as bad. Like, yeah, I vote that way because I want to pay less taxes for the most part. I'm a few issue type voter. I don't want.
Do Republicans actually want to lower taxes, though? Like Trump does. They say they do, but do they generally do it? Come on. They don't.
You know, I won't vote for any war hawks. If there's an R in front of their name and they're a war hawk, I'll vote independent. I'll vote independent if it's somebody who's fiscally conservative. I don't put an R in front of my name and identify that way, just like I don't think it's smart for anyone to do it with a D or an R or even an I.
Anybody.
Right? Or a Green Party or whatever. You should vote for who you think is best, not who,
The Libertarian Party, because of the Mises Caucus, I consider myself a libertarian, but I never vote libertarian. Gary Johnson, come on. Guy's more left than certain Democrats, right? So it's just like, you shouldn't do that to anybody. To listen to what they want to do, listen to their politics, listen to what their policies are. You can't always trust that either because, Obama's campaigned on a lot of policies, like transparency. And he was even saying smaller government when he ran in 2008. And it's just a lie. But what can you do? But yeah, I wouldn't just vote for anybody because of what party they're in. That's not a good idea. And he's saying, all politicians are bad pretty much. Like lifelong politicians. Like, I like Trump and like Vivek Ramaswamy. They're not real politicians. They're business people that got into politics. There's a difference, a huge difference.
Put letters in front of their name. But in this particular video, again, so he's probably going to get backlash after this video. Is he an industry plant? I don't know.
I don't think so, but he could be.
He never said that he never said he was talking about Joe Biden. He never said he was talking about Democrats. He was talking about politicians.
Politicians, government, yeah.
Now, he did not go out of his way there to specifically say, and Democrats. He said it's a lot more than that.
Kinda did.
But again, this dude's, in good faith, just trying to make music.
It's all of it.
He's not trying to buddy up to the conservative party who have co-opted his song. So if people are going to be mad about that, I disagree.
I don't know why people are
And I got to
mad.
be honest with you, if you like music, then most of them are liberal, I'll say. That doesn't mean there's some wild hippy-dippy, actually hippies are fine, but some crazy far leftist. It just means that most musicians are liberal. There are very few true conservative musicians.
So
and
what?
That's okay. If
That's
you
fine.
like Oliver Anthony's music, that's okay. If you feel offended that he had to make this video to say, hey, bro, I don't like conservatives either, this ain't a conservative song, it's not his fault. They claimed it. If you like the song, you should still like the song. I guess that's
a
my
good
take
song.
on it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do.
Yeah, very interesting. Like I've said, I'll sum it up real quick because I think I've said everything that I can say multiple times throughout this video. But I think it's dumb. I don't know why anyone cares. Who cares if he's conservative or whatever? If it relates to you as a conservative, that's kind of the thing people got to keep in mind now, right? Is if you make an authentic song that people are going to like in general, that's a real message, not like a pop song or something. But you have a real message like this, conservatives are going to be the ones who it resonates with. Right? And the leftists hated him because they're like, oh, no, all this stuff. It's like, you like Epstein Island? He brings up Epstein Island and evils of politicians? Like, keeping the military down and, normal people now are on the right. It's weird. So when he says, I'm not a conservative, I'd say that about me. I'd probably lean conservative on a lot of issues, but I'm more of a libertarian. You know what I mean? I'm not like particularly religious or anything. So, so it's just like, but who cares? You can relate to me. It's like Tim Pool, a lot of people can relate to him, or the Quartering, who I just played a clip of. It doesn't matter. You can still like people, and we're going to lean certain ways. We might disagree with any things here and there, but that's awesome. So what? Right? He doesn't want government in his life, and he thinks it's dumb if you're like, okay, you want to go and have someone save you from, like, most conservatives would agree with this stuff, right? But he just doesn't view himself as a conservative. Like I said, he's like in the middle. He's a libertarian. He just hates all government. And who can not agree with that? The modern day Republican Party should just listen up and hear what he's saying, because how can you not agree with that? If you like Mitch McConnell and you like Lindsey Graham and stuff, okay, yeah, you probably don't like you probably don't like this guy. You probably don't like me either. I don't want the Ukraine war. I hate the drug war. All this non-stuff. It's like the same thing as the left, just on the other side. I live in Texas, and you can't get liquor past 9 p.m. on almost every day, and then on Sundays you can't get liquor. Period. That's not small government. Like, the right likes to rep small government, but no. It's like the George Bush conservative. You still want just as much power as the left. It's just on different things. The drug war that Reagan and Nixon started, it's just stupid. I mean, I get it. I live in Austin, so having heroin needles on the streets isn't good. Don't get me wrong. I don't like it. But the fact that we've spent so much money on it, we spent so much money on the drug war, and where is it getting us? You want to stop drugs from coming in the border? Okay, fair enough. The fentanyl crisis is awful. Definitely. But the drug war in general, it's just bigger government. Wouldn't it be better to do charities and stuff like that and better outreach? The government doesn't ever solve anything. When you want to get government involved, it always makes it worse. I think government getting involved made the drug war worse because it let people make money on it. And then don't talk about the drug war. What about the pharmaceutical industry? They declare this drug war on all of these things, but then pharmaceuticals, no, it's fine. You can go and sell those legally. And look at the opioid epidemic, right? Fentanyl is actually technically legal, not in these weird street drugs that they make, but it's still legal. You can use it for certain things, and look at the damage it can do. You know what I mean? And then you go on and you talk about other things that conservative, like all the wars that conservatives have started and wanted to start, all this warmongering the last 40 years. Who wants to even be a conservative, like the traditional conservative? Modern day conservative, I think, is different. But Oliver Anthony probably doesn't think like that. He's like, hey, no, I'm a libertarian. I'm a small government guy. If you think that the right's going to come and save you like Mike Pence, what the hell is he going to do? You think he's going to come and help you and make your life better? Come on, give me a break. He just wants power, just like Joe Biden. The exception, like I said, is Donald Trump and Vivek Ramaswamy. They're already rich. They are already famous, right? Especially Trump before he got elected. I think they want to help the country. and they're going out of their way. The other people, this is their job. This is their promotion. This is becoming CEO of the company, for these people. Where Trump and Vivek, they're like, well, I'll just make my own company. And I get to be CEO. Right? So, yeah. I like him. I like Oliver Anthony. I don't think he should be getting backlash at all, especially for the majority of the right nowadays. If you're some donor class that like Lincoln Project and you hate Trump and everything, you shouldn't have liked him in the first place. Like Lindsey Graham, come on. I love how he said and he's like, I love how I was playing in the debate, and I hate those people too. It's like, who doesn't? Again, the only person I like on there is Vivek. Other than that, they're all just traditional politicians. They say political stuff. Who would like that, right? Again, I'm surprised they even co-opted the song because it's about small government. He's just talking shit about all this stuff anyways. You know what I mean? But I think I'll leave it there for this one. Let's move on to the next story. Speaking of Vivek Ramaswamy, he has revealed his vision for America if he's elected. Let's roll a clip.
Got a Fox News alert for you right there. Donald J. Trump became the first president ever to get a mugshot after turning himself in at a Georgia County jail on election interference charges in the state of Georgia.
And our next guest says if he is elected president, he will pardon Donald Trump. GOP presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy joins us now. Good morning, Vivek.
Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. We've known you for years. You wrote your book. You've been, you've come on our show a lot. Then we see you up on the debate stage. You decide to run for president, and you just come out so energetic, and the polls are showing that you are loved. You really just came back from behind. Tell us, what is your reaction to all of this?
So I do think we're skating on thin ice as a country right now, Ainsley, and my top goal as U.S. president is to reunite this country. I still believe that's possible. I don't think we're working with a lot of time here. If my two sons, who are toddlers now, if they graduate from 12th grade before we fix this, I genuinely worry we won't have a country left. That is what gives me my sense of urgency, and that is why I have been so clear, despite being a competitor to Donald Trump in this primary. I have been crystal clear that, yes, I will pardon him of any federal crime of which I'm able to. And the reason why is that is a precondition for moving our nation forward. We cannot turn into a banana republic where the party in power.
I mean, they're trying to go at Trump's lawyers. They're trying to indict lawyers for giving him legal advice. Anyone who doesn't think that this Georgia case in particular is just crazy, I don't know what to tell them, because this could come after them, and they're setting a very bad precedent. It might come after their political leaders, even them. So, be careful what you wish for.
Uses police force to indict and arrest its political opponents in the middle of an election. That is not how we do it in the United States of America.
In the middle of an election,
if there's one principle we should all be able to unite around, whether or not you disagree with the president, it is we the people who select the president, not the federal administrative police state. And that's why I've been so clear on this issue.
And Vivek, you mentioned you're a competitor. You and Donald Trump are both competing to be president of the United States, but you guys have a lot of the same policies. And it's like, well, why would I vote for Vivek when I can get the real McCoy if I like Donald Trump's policies?
The reality is, being the president is not just about policy. You're right. Donald Trump and I are both America First candidates. There are some small differences. I would go further with some elements of the America First agenda. Use the military on the southern border, not just build the wall. Shut down the Department of Education, not just put Betsy DeVos, a good person, on top and tell her to reform it. So in many ways, I think I am going further, but that's not the
rip it all apart.
I'm from a different generation. I'm 38 years old. We are reaching young Americans as somebody who has lived the American dream as a first-generation American. I want to build a multi-ethnic working-class coalition that delivers not just a 50.1 electoral margin, but a landslide, a moral mandate. And I genuinely believe that, as I said before, we're skating on such thin ice that this has to be a landslide election. Like Reagan delivered in 1980, I think I am the single candidate on this Republican primary that can actually deliver that landslide in 2024, and that is a critical step to reunite this country. We're reaching people young and old, black and white, man and woman.
I still would like to see Vivek as the VP David was saying on Crowder the other day after the debate, he was saying that he kind of made a good point. He's like, well, an alpha male doesn't want another alpha male, working for him, meaning like Trump. Trump's an alpha male and Vivek's an alpha male. But if you watch Apprentice, all those people are alphas. And I think that's what Trump actually wants. I think Trump wants an alpha. I think he picked Mike Pence because he wanted the Indiana vote. So that's why he wanted him. But I don't think he would have cared if he was an alpha male. Again, look at The Apprentice. All those people that won are alphas, right? So why would the VP be any different? And look at what is Steve Bannon and stuff. He's an alpha. He has him on there. A lot of the people he hires, I think he likes alpha males. I mean, Pat made a good point, but with Trump in general, he probably likes alpha men. It's like they do good work.
Doesn't matter.
Who wants a yes man? And if you're not an alpha, you're just going to be a yes man, right? Interesting.
Places I've gone, from the south side of Chicago to Kensington and Philadelphia, these are places where traditional Republicans don't dare go. Many Democrats don't even dare go. But to me, the America First movement means we put all Americans first. And I think that landslide is something that I'm uniquely equipped to deliver.
Yeah, I mean,
Trump can
because
do
you
it
tried
too.
to put federal troops into those hellacious city streets, and these mayors push back, so that's what you'll be up against. You're also going to be up against Ambassador Nikki Haley, and you guys could not be more disagreeable when it comes to our role in the hot spots in the world and the places that matter most. Here's what she told us last hour about how wrong she still thinks you are.
Cares what she
When you
thinks.
talk about Ukraine, I understand that Americans are divided on what we should be doing with Ukraine, but Vivek was completely wrong to say that we have to choose between the border or protecting our national security. We do it all.
He didn't say that. He said, why are we giving money to Ukraine when we can't even afford to defend the border? That's what he said. This chick, I don't like her. She's conniving. She just lies. She said that Russia, after Ukraine, already pledged to go after Poland. They never said that. She's a warmongering she's a liar. I don't like her at all. And I think she knows she can't win. She's just trying to get publicity for like a podcast or a book or something. She's never going to win. I've never liked this woman. She's ambassador to the UN and all this. I'm like, ugh, I've never liked her.
We do it all to make sure we keep Americans safe.
So she
Yeah,
went
cut her off.
there,
Who
Taiwan.
cares? Shut up.
Stop Russia there is a message to China because they're inextricably linked.
So look, I respect Ambassador Haley and her experiences, but I respectfully disagree with her. And I think the existing foreign policy establishment has gotten it wrong for so long, they're getting it wrong here too. We are driving Russia further into China's hands.
But they invaded Ukraine, Vivek. They invaded Ukraine. Just give them the 20% of the country.
Well, here's what I would say.
Maybe. I mean, when they took Crimea in 2014, the people in Crimea haven't seemed like they care. They haven't rebelled against Russia. Right? So give it, yeah, maybe. If the people don't care and that 20%, whatever. They don't want the whole Ukraine. Just they can move up. It's kind of unfortunate. But imagine if we wanted part of Mexico and we had a dispute and then Russia's coming in funding them? Or China? What would the U.S. think of that? I'm not happy with what Russia's doing. Don't get me wrong. I think it's sick, and all the people that are dying and stuff, they need to end that war, like, today. And if you ask me, I want that war to be over right now. So if that's 20% of the country, it's unfortunate, but maybe that would be for the best, right? And then people would stop dying at least. Both sides are targeting civilians. It's a giant mess. The war needs just to end. And that you're that concerned about 20% of Ukraine, which is a pretty small country anyways. It's like that's what you're killing tens of thousands of people for. I think that's why people don't want to fund Ukraine. Plus, they're giving them all of our munitions. I was talking to somebody recently, and they were saying, oh, well, if we don't help Ukraine, they'll just go and invade Taiwan. And then what, are we not going to help Taiwan? We gave all of our munitions to Ukraine instead of Taiwan. So if China attacks Taiwan now, I heard that we're almost out of munitions, and then it's going to take years to replenish them, like 3 years. So if China wants to go, it's like a perfect play. Like Russia, you go invade Ukraine, America will give them all the munitions, right? And then we'll go and attack Taiwan. Then what are they going to do? There's not going to be anything to give Taiwan. I think it's a poor argument, to be honest. I get people saying that, okay, they want to. But for me, okay, if you want to, they're like, okay, but Russia's evil and all this, and they're the aggressor. But the people are dying to defend it. 20% of the country. And again, people in Crimea, they don't care. They haven't rebelled against Russia. They're like, okay, they took us and whatever. You know, they could go leave after the war if they're not happy about it. Just go into Ukraine. And they just want that land bridge, Russia does. They don't want all of Ukraine. Right? So it's like, ugh. I get their point. I really do. I try to understand both sides of the argument. But at the same time, I respectfully disagree because, like I just said, all these people are dying just to defend this 20% of the country. It's like, yeah, is it really worth it? And then Ukraine's targeting civilians with their drones and stuff in Moscow, too. Maybe not intentionally, but they're flying their drones over Moscow, and then Moscow shoots them down for obvious reasons, and then they're hitting buildings in Moscow. And then Zelensky, his response to that happened, he's like, the war is coming to Moscow and to Russia. They're starting to understand. He doesn't even like, well, it sucks that it hit civilians. That wasn't our intent, but it happens. He's not like apologetic about it. He's like, yeah, we're taking it to Russia. It's like, it's civilians. What are you guys doing? It's horrific. Wouldn't it be better just to give them that 20% potentially? You know, I mean, if Ukraine's defending themselves, I'm not saying that Ukraine should just sit down and surrender. I'm not saying that at all. But the U.S., like, funding them when all of our cities or all of our infrastructure is falling apart, we can't even afford that, even though they passed this huge infrastructure bill. And then still, everything's still falling apart, and it's not going to help. And all these migrants in the borders costing us tens, maybe so much money. Hundreds of billions a year collectively throughout all the city, federal, and state because we're having to house these people and give them food and clothes, shelter, and everything. Yeah, so we can't even like have our own country in order, and we're going to go send stuff to Ukraine. Yeah, I think that's why people just don't like it. Yeah, that's why I don't like it. It's like, it's not our fight. It's across the world. It's not a NATO. NATO never even wants to step up to fund it. America has to foot the bill on everything. You know, why do we have to do all this stuff? Our own country's not in order.
Just like Nixon did not trust Mao, we still had to pull Mao Zedong out of the hands of the USSR. I don't trust Putin any more than Putin trusts us.
But you want to take his word that he'll divorce himself from China?
No, I will not take his word. I will make him actually abide by an agreement with the United States with hard conditions attached to it. If they resume joint military exercises with China, there will be consequences in my deal with them. We will immediately then look at other actions that actually put Russia in a tougher spot than they are even now. Maximum pressure campaign. But what I've said is we can actually go the other direction. Reopen economic relations with Russia. Freeze the current lines of control. Make a commitment that NATO will not admit Ukraine to NATO.
So let Russia take 20% of the country. They took it. They just took it.
The reality,
and you said let him have it?
What do we get in return?
But listen,
the reality is
he's not saying let him have it. Again, if Ukraine wants to fight, that's on them. If the other European countries want to supply them, that's on them. But why are we doing it? It's not like we have this huge surplus of everything, right? And our equipment's so advanced that they have to go through all this training, and it takes a long time to build more. It's like, shouldn't we keep ourselves safe over Ukraine?
I'm keeping my eye on the prize, Brian. Here's the eye on the prize. The Russia-China alliance is the greatest threat the United States faces. There is not a single candidate in either party who has offered a coherent plan of how to disband that alliance. I have, and I want to use the Ukraine war as a chance to bring that alliance apart. That will be the single greatest advance in U.S. national security. We're watching the Russian army deconstructed before our eyes. We're watching the Russian army deconstructed before our eyes without any American blood. They are the aggressor.
Who cares? Yeah, they're aggressor, but I don't care. Do you think I care if China's military is getting disintegrated before our eyes? That's sick. Right? It's better to like have the government collapse or something. You know what I mean? Like that's what he's happy about. Oh, we don't have to have any American blood and their military's falling apart. Russia wasn't inherently our enemy until like all this stuff happened when they invaded Ukraine. We were like pretty much allies, you know? And I get it. Like they're the aggressor and the sanctions and stuff. I get it. Right? You got to give them something, you know, that's that's really messed up what they're doing. They're killing all these civilians and everything, like I was just saying. That's messed up. But you're just like, oh, awesome. Their military is getting disintegrated. It's like, those are people's lives, bro. Like, wow.
And our foreign policy did win us the Cold War, which I assume you know.
Yes, in the modern
different-
Cold War, Brian, the old
different
establishment
foreign
needs to
policy.
wake up and see is that the USSR doesn't exist anymore, but communist China does. And unlike the USSR, we now depend on communist China for our modern way of life. If that had been a Russian spy balloon flying over half the United States, we would have shot it down in an instant and ratcheted up sanctions. But because it was a Chinese spy balloon, we're scared, so we didn't do it.
Right.
And the reality is China is bolder because they know Russia is in their camp. Russia does have the
You'll
largest
never
nuclear
sep- you will
stockpile in the world.
never separate
Why
them,
do you want to
ever.
embolden China even more?
Why
and
is
allow
this
them to
guy?
take
Who is this guy? You'll never separate them ever. Like, bro, they don't necessarily have to be like separated, but when they just start buying like China starts buying all of their oil from Russia instead of from us, I mean, they're right next to each other. They're neighbors. You can't separate them. But what Vivek's point is, it's like it's just going right. They're gonna be exclusive allies, right?
Respectfully.
You give
what
them
about
a win?
Taiwan? You said that you were fine basically with China taking Taiwan?
That's actually not what I said.
Okay, what did you
to
say?
the contrary, I'm glad
Clarify
we're
it.
having this discussion. What I said is there isn't a single candidate in the Republican Party who's had the courage to say what I've said, which is we will defend Taiwan. Right
Interesting.
now, the U.S. policy of strategic ambiguity doesn't allow establishment politicians to say that. The U.S. policy in both parties is a one China policy. I say move beyond that to strategic clarity. I said we will defend Taiwan, at least until we have semiconductor independence in this country,
And then let
at
them
which
take
point
in
we will
2028.
reevaluate.
And then we let them
At
take
which
it.
point we'll reevaluate.
All right.
Brian, I will remind you that the U.S. policy right now is a one China policy. Donald Trump was derided for
That guy
picking
looks
up a
evil
phone
on there,
call from
right?
the Taiwanese president. That's how pathetic our current policy is. I think we should be clear that we will defend Taiwan.
Believe it or not,
but
this
also
president.
make it clear to Xi Jinping.
Believe it or not, this president keeps saying
What's that,
we
Brian?
are. He's different from his State Department.
Vivek, thank you very much for joining us today. We know you've had
Just
a
cut
really
him
big
off.
week. You did a really good job. Do you have enough energy to do like 40 burpees for us right now on TV?
Oh, my gosh.
We might go for 45 today, but what I'm
Cut
saying
him
is
off
I
and
love
then
the
ask him to
conversation with you guys.
exercise
Great
on
quality
TV. I think
conversation.
he's
Leaves me
joking,
energized. We'll do more of it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. I'm Steve Doocy.
Man, these guys are just war hawks, bro. Oh my god. Okay, so once we get semiconductor independence, okay, if they take Taiwan, then we just let them take it. They can defend themselves. I mean, we're allies with Taiwan. So, yeah, sell them equipment if they want to actually buy it. It's not like Ukraine. You're just handing them to a donation. They want to buy it. Fair enough. That helps American industry. It sucks. I hate the war and the military-industrial complex, but at least they're buying it. I mean, why do these people feel like it's America's job to police the entire world? It's on the other side of the world, and then because they go take we didn't help Hong Kong, but Taiwan, okay, no, we just go let them take it. I think Taiwan has the ability to defend themselves. China's like a paper tiger, and if they go and defend Taiwan, or if they go to try to take Taiwan, and same thing happens with Russia, where like the whole world cuts them off, and they're already starting because of COVID. And look at the economy there now. If America even just went to war semi with China, not trying to defend Taiwan, just sanctions, their economy would collapse. But no, these guys want war. That's what they want. They just want to defend the war. That's what they do. It's messed up. It's like that's not our job to just go. Look at if NATO wants to give them stuff, fair enough. We're not everybody in NATO, right? So it's like fair enough. I get it. But why do we have to go do all of this? Have a proxy war with Russia, proxy war with China, let them take it. It's like, bro, I would hate if China took Taiwan. China's evil. They would destroy so much stuff. But again, why is that our job? Just let them take it. But Ramaswamy said he'd defend them until the processor, the semiconductor industry changed. But then after that, it's like, it sucks. I hate that China took Hong Kong. I hate it. I hate the CCP. I absolutely hate them. But why are we going to go to World War III for them? That's how I feel about Ukraine. Let's go to nuclear World War III and let the whole planet get destroyed potentially to save this small country that should be defending themselves. You know what I mean? And they're doing a good job. Without our munitions, they're doing a good job still. They're still defending it, guerrilla warfare and all that. America can never take Afghanistan. And we're America. We're the craziest military. So, I mean, if they want to do that, that's fair. I'm not going to say Ukraine should just lay down and die so, Russia can take them over. But it's like, why are we involved in this? Yeah, it's just, for me, it's like, look, we shouldn't be doing that. Because again, the potential for World War III, it's just insane. But let's just go do that because I don't know. I don't know. They're not trying to help people. They try to say that they'll just let them take it. So we can do American blood, but tens of thousands of civilians are dying. Isn't it better to go contact Putin directly and make a deal so people stop dying? Silly me for thinking that, But with that, let's move on to the next story. This is really messed up. This is like more of a PSA. A video shows Florida man injecting chemicals under a family's door. Like, what is this? Let's play a clip.
I wish no one else has to go through what we went through.
When his 10-month-old baby started vomiting and he smelled chemicals around his condo, Umar Abdullah said he had to do something.
Then I actually double-checked. I started sniffing that place like a dog.
He said he changed his water heater, called the fire department, still nothing. Then he said he thought about his downstairs neighbor, Zhuming Li, who kept complaining about noises from upstairs.
Even during war, the worst enemies do not attack the opponent, the other party, with chemicals.
He installed a hidden camera, and lo and behold, he caught Li, appearing to fill a syringe with liquid and injecting it under his door.
The first thing that came to my mind, my daughter and my wife, they need to be safe.
Li was arrested and charged with multiple felonies, including possession of a controlled substance and burglary.
Are you worried your daughter is going to have some long-term side effects?
I don't want to think about it.
Hillsborough County's arrest record lists Li as a student at USF. The school told 8 on Your Side he was a chemistry PhD student, but is no longer enrolled there. In a statement to 8 on Your Side, Lee's attorney said that Lee pled not guilty, and all the facts will come out in due course of time.
A neighbor who
supposedly
who's seemingly a regular guy, he was coming and harming us with
evil.
Chemical.
Doesn't looking like a normal guy to me.
That was very scary.
Look at him. Why would you do that? God, that guy's evil. Yeah, I wanted to give a PSA just because, like, hey, man, people could be doing this if you smell chemicals and stuff. It's crazy he did this because he heard noises upstairs. He's like, you guys are too loud, so I'm going to go poison you. That is so evil. And he has a baby. Oh, your baby's crying. I'm going to poison you. Wow. Then he pleads not guilty. He's like, no, I didn't do anything. And his lawyer's like, the facts will come out in the trial. The fact is, you're on a video doing it. Insanity. But with that, let's move on to the next story. Marjorie Taylor Greene explodes on Fani, Willis, and Joe Biden. She kind of gives some business to some like other protesters there too. Let's play a clip.
Marjorie.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So you can pretty much just tell us what you were sharing over there really quick.
Well, this is a devastating day for America. Georgia is embarrassed and ashamed of this Fulton County DA that's abusing her office to go after and arrest.
I'm pretty sure everyone knows who this is, but this is a congresswoman from Georgia. So they're in Georgia.
The former president of the United States, which is Joe Biden's top political opponent. And I'll tell you right now, in the state of Georgia, I met with GMA last week. This is a statistic that everyone needs to understand. In the state of Georgia, a child is sold for sex. A child is sold for sex over 7,200 times every single month.
Wow.
And here, this disgrace of an attorney, the Fulton County DA, Fani Willis, is abusing her power to go after and arrest Trump.
This is what they're working on.
Her power of prosecution to go after child sex traffickers,
Wow.
go after gang members that are linked to the Mexican cartels. She's not doing this to go
insane.
after murderers. We have the same
She doesn't
murder
care.
rate as Chicago. This
What's
is
your
an
source on all this,
embarrassment.
Marjorie?
Why are you here?
You're talking about sex trafficking. What's
Are
your
you
source?
here?
GMA.
Who's GMA?
Georgia Emergency
Who's
Management Agency.
Have you had any communication?
A government agency. That is
It's a government agency. Sorry, I was talking, but yeah, it's a government agency.
Marjorie, have you had
For
any
Georgia.
communication with the former president at all today?
Yes, of course. I'm in constant communication with him. I support President Trump. I just came from the Republican debate in Milwaukee last night, landed here this morning. The reason why I'm here is because this is my home state. I was born and raised in the state of Georgia, and I'm here as a Georgian. I'm also here as a member of Congress We're going to be standing up against the weaponized government, and we're launching an investigation into Fani Willis through the Judiciary Committee. And
Fanny. Call her Fanny.
Last question
Her
was
name's a
about
joke,
Fani
and
Willis.
she's a
You know that
joke.
she did get
Call
the
her for what she
approval
is.
for the trial date to be moved up. Do you have any comment on that?
My comment to Fani Willis is we're going to make sure that she loses her job.
What do you think she's
Yeah,
done?
impeach her. Get her out of there.
This is called weaponized government.
What does that mean?
The weaponized government.
that
She's
mean?
going at, she's
Bro,
using
why
her
you
office
there?
for politics.
Okay, so
she's going
she-
after Joe Biden's top political opponent.
So you don't
He's
think
going
Trump
to win the
made any of
Republican
these-
primary? No, these are fake charges. Why? He's being arrested because he uses freedom of speech. He's not allowed to say what he thinks and feels about his 2020 election. He didn't break the law. Joe Biden broke the law.
Do you have any
Joe
concerns?
Biden
Do you
has
have any
made
concerns
more
that any of
money
the other
being in
19?
office for 50 years, using people
Yeah.
just like you,
Not like me.
tens of millions. Yes,
Like
just
you.
like you.
Not
No,
like
you
me.
probably voted for him. That's
No,
your
I didn't.
president.
Do you have any concerns that any of the people that are indicted are going to take any deals in this case?
I don't know. Those are questions for their attorneys, but I think it's shameful. These people are having to pay for attorneys,
Probably voted
have to
for him.
defend themselves.
She
They're
probably did.
having
She's
to be the victim of the weaponized government happening here in Georgia, and our state legislature needs to do something about it.
Has the former president asked you to be his running mate, or have you had any conversations with him about that?
The president will pick who he chooses for his running mate. Right now, I'm serving Georgia's 14th congressional district.
Good answer.
Yeah.
The president's feeling outraged. He's the victim of the weaponized government. This should not be happening. You know, the Democrat Party should be able to run on their own policies, and their policies right now are nearly $4 a gallon gasoline. Their policies right now, they've doubled food prices with inflation. Their policies right now are wide open borders where drugs, over 300 fentanyl deaths every single day in America. Here in our state, over 250% increase in fentanyl deaths. That's Fani Willis, everybody. That's what she's doing. She's not prosecuting these crimes.
Fani Willis is bringing fentanyl into the country. Yeah, you're saying they're weaponizing the government, but
She's not prosecuting you, idiot.
Why should he? No, why
You think
should
she's bringing crazy? God, people are so stupid. You think she's bringing fentanyl into the country? No, she's saying she's not prosecuting the people that are. You moron! What are you talking about?
Shouldn't every person have their day in court, though?
Why should he even be in court? Why? Because he said
What?
my election was stolen? Is that a crime? Hillary Clinton.
Shouldn't everyone have their day in court, though? Everyone? I think that woman literally means that. Why would everyone, if they're just accused by some random person of something that's not true, have to go to court? It doesn't make any sense. Like, what are you talking about? Anytime anyone accuses you of anything, or a prosecutor, George Soros-funded prosecutor, accuses you of something, you have to go to court. And you have to stand trial. Like, that shouldn't be how it is. What are you... People are so weird.
Said the same thing. Guess what? Stacey Abrams said the same thing right here in Georgia when
Yeah,
she ran for
Hillary
governor.
Clinton, Stacey
and every single
Abrams.
Democrat all came out and said the elections were stolen. The elections were stolen.
Yep,
Did anyone
2018.
see?
What about Brad Raffensperger, though? Brad Raffensperger, he straight up said that there was no issues in our...
The guy comes out and says there was no issues. Oh, well, the guy that's in Brian Kemp's back pocket. Brian Kemp says the same thing. Do you trust these people? Why would you trust these people? Oh, because someone said it who doesn't like Trump. Of course they say that. It's like, come on. Like, just stop. And that's like the thing she's trying to get her. Oh, well, what about him? He says this. Brad says this. You know, he said there was no... It's against their agenda to even look into it. Brian Kemp wouldn't even look into it. Like, what are you talking about? So what he says this? This Fani Willis woman says that Trump knowingly broke the law and all this stuff. So what? People say whatever the hell they want to say. It doesn't mean it's true.
Brad
No, I'm
Raffensperger.
sorry. We had to hire an attorney and do a FOIA request because my ex-husband was told that he voted by absentee ballot. You guys look this up. This is in the news. He was told when he showed up to vote in 2020 that he voted by absentee ballot, and he said, no, I didn't. I didn't even request one. And then he had to sign an affidavit to surrender an absentee ballot that he never voted on, and we were accused and called liars for that until we hired an attorney, and we had to FOIA the information, and guess what? It turns out it was all true.
FOIA, for those who don't know, is a Freedom of Information request.
Exactly what he said. So there was fraud in the election, and it's a serious issue. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, you should care about your elections.
Exactly.
You've spoken with him. Do you expect to see him?
President Trump will be coming in for this shameful event, and then he'll be leaving. And I don't blame him. I'm sure he'll be ready to go.
What do you think about the debate yesterday? Vivek Ramaswamy.
I thought Vivek did a good job. He actually stood up for America First policies, and he was the only one on the stage that made any sense. The rest of them sounded like George Bush Republicans.
So is Vivek 24 or VP Vivek?
I'm Trump 24. Trump 24 all the way.
To his supporters today.
I'm sorry.
Will he speak to his supporters? They're asking if their Trump is going to speak to supporters.
Yes,
He says yes. She says yes.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. MTG going in, defending Trump, defending what she believes in. Some of those people are so weird. Like, why are you here? What are you doing here? It's like, I'm a congressman and the congresswoman for the state. Why can't I have every right to be here? What is it? These people are annoying, man. It's like, if I'm a supporter, I can go show support for Trump, just like if you want to go show support for Biden or whatever, like on his inaugural day. I don't think very many people would show up for that. But, it's their right. Why are you here? Why do you like this? It's like, these people are such hypocrites. They can go do all this stuff, and then why are they there? They're out there protesting Trump. Why are they there? I'm there to protest. I think Trump should go to jail. It's like, okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's your right to be here. I don't care. But then the other side, like, no, you shouldn't be here. It's like, oh. Yeah, very interesting. But I thought it was funny. Marjorie Taylor Greene, saying all this stuff to him, and they were like, oh, that Brad, whatever. I think that Secretary of State of Georgia. Like, who cares what that guy says? Again, this Fani Willis woman saying that Trump knowingly lied and he knew the election wasn't stolen, but okay, we're going to go and prosecute him anyways. And not only that, we're going to prosecute his lawyers, even though they are in their legal right to challenge the election. But no, you're going to get prosecuted for it. Because she thinks they lied. She says they lied. Okay, yeah, let's believe everybody. How about when people say stuff? And I know they didn't do an investigation in Georgia. I know it. Look at all that weird stuff going on. I'm not going to get into it here. I know YouTube says you can talk about it now, but I'm not going to talk about it. So yeah, you can go look it up. But it's interesting. Lots of interesting stuff that happened there that's definitely warrants at least an investigation. But no, they won't do it. They don't do an investigation. All they do is, no, it was all fine. It was all good. It's fine. Don't nothing to see here. No, don't look at it. Shut up. Don't talk about it. That's what they do. So good for MTG. She's going in there and, setting the record straight with her ex-husband story and all that stuff. It's happened a lot of stuff like that happened. But with that, I'm going to leave it there and we're going to move on to the next story. All Trump co-defendants have surrendered in Georgia. I know during when Trump, he went in there, when he surrendered and got booked and everything, people were asking, are all of his defendants going to show up? So apparently they did. Let's roll a clip.
We begin with Donald Trump's extraordinary and historic surrender at a jail in Atlanta. The former president arrested last night for his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election in Georgia. It is the fourth time this year that Mr. Trump has turned himself in to face criminal charges.
This time was different, though. This time he had his mugshot taken, a first for a former American president. The booking process lasted about 20 minutes, and Mr. Trump was released on a
I love how the left just hates him, but they're just turning him into a legend. Like literally and figuratively. It's like the first guy, president in American history, to get a mugshot taken, and it's all because of nonsense.
$1,000 bond. But before heading back home to New Jersey, Trump spoke to reporters on the airport tarmac and again insisted that he did nothing wrong.
What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. And everybody knows it. I've never had such support. And that goes with the other ones, too. What they're doing is election interference. They're trying to interfere with an election.
We have team coverage from all angles. In just a moment, we're going to get perspective from NBC News presidential historian Michael Beschloss. But first to NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez, who's been following this live from Atlanta. Gabe, first, what about those other 18 co-defendants? We've been focusing on the former president, but have those co-defendants all surrendered?
Hi there, Vicki. Well, it has been a very busy morning here at
the Fulton County Jail just within the past few minutes. One of those other defendants was released on a $75,000 bond. One of the last ones to turn himself in, Reverend Stephen Lee from suburban Chicago, accused of intimidating an election worker. We briefly spoke with his attorney as he came out of here, and his attorney said that he denied the charges you see right there on your screen.
So like some of them are smiling.
The defendants in this case have just turned
the
themselves in. They have been
she
booked
looks
in
so
process.
happy.
All but one have actually been released at this point. And this comes after an incredible sweeping indictment. And again,
Trump
all
on the top left
19 of them have surrendered at this point. And right now, this was the deadline that the district attorney had set out, noon on Friday, when they all had to turn themselves in or face arrest. Vicki and Morgan?
Gabe, tell us where the case goes from here. Any idea of a timeline? But you know there are a lot of conflicting opinions on when this should all happen.
That's right. There were a lot of breaking details on that yesterday as well. And this is so complicated that you just saw how many defendants there are right there. Well, at least a few of them. One of them at this point has requested a speedy trial. And just yesterday, a judge granted that for one of former President Trump's attorneys, Kenneth Chesebro. That trial now set for, get this, October 23rd. That is less than 2 months from now. Still, legal experts question whether that's even possible. But Trump's legal team, of course.
Legal experts say, is that even possible? But then the judge set the date because they requested a speedy trial. That's really funny. They're going to make them do like a trial for every person, it sounds like, instead of like going all together. They're like the one lawyer. That's what's funny is a lot of these people are lawyers. So they're like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to do a speedy trial. I'm ready. I knew this was coming. I'm going in. That's really funny.
Has been saying that this case needs to go on much longer. They've asked for a trial date of 2026.
That's Trump's attorneys. Asked for a trial date of 2026 so they could get prepared. And then then one of his lawyers wants one in October of this year. This is so wild. So dumb.
A long time.
Waste of everyone's time and money.
Now, the DA had previously proposed March of next year, so still a lot of questions on how this is all going to play out. But Vicki and Morgan, this speaks to just how...
March of next year, right in the middle of primary season. Oh, no, what do you know? Nothing to see here.
Unwieldy this whole process has become, this complicated, sweeping indictment of 19 defendants. It's anyone's guess when they will all finally go to trial. But again, one of them, the first one, could go as early as October 23rd, less than 2 months from now.
So dumb. What a waste of time. All this is just a waste of time for everybody. Like the taxpayers have to pay for all this stuff, all this, especially with Trump. All the whole motorcade and all it's just costing those local taxpayers so much money. And it's not even going to go anywhere. Even if he somehow gets convicted for this, which the jury has to prove that Trump knowingly, he knew he lost the election and he made all this up to overthrow the government. And then if he's trying to overthrow the government, a $200,000 bond, come on. It is a joke. It's a giant joke. It's so dumb and boring. And like when he went in there to get booked, it's like all that traffic, they shut down that whole one-way direction, it looked like, to the expressway for like a 40-minute drive. All that got shut down. Do you know how mad I would be? I live in Austin. If the one side, like the Northway on I-35, is just shut because they're indicting Trump, it's like, what are you doing? I don't want to deal with this. Do you think they care? They don't care. And like in my last segment now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's talking about this type of stuff. Like, no one cares. It's all just dumb. It's like, people don't want this. Locals don't want this. But they're just going to do it anyway. Because, like, let's get Trump. Let's get Trump. I campaigned on getting Trump. Let's get Trump. That's all they care about. They don't care about the taxpayers or how it affects them. They don't care what the people in the state think. Hey, I campaigned on this. George Soros gave me money for it. So now I'm elected. So now I'm going to go for it. I don't care about the murders or the fentanyl. Who cares? No, Trump. He knowingly lied about the election, even though that's all he talks about. And it doesn't seem like he lied about it all. But yeah, we're just going to say he lied. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me for this late night edition of David Carson Show. It's 12 a.m. here, so I think I'm going to wrap it up, and that was my final story. But I definitely appreciate you joining and watching the entire podcast. This was fun, as always, and had a bit of drink in me. So, yeah, it was fun. Now I'll probably go off air and drink a little bit more, you know. I was quite on having a little bit more drink on air. It's just like, this stuff is so compelling. Who wants to get up and get another drink? You know? This is fun. But I definitely appreciate it. I'm pretty sure I'll be back streaming tomorrow. I might take a day off because I want to start streaming at noon, but now I have to like stay up and clip out all the segments from the podcast and get them scheduled for YouTube. So, like, can I stay up that late and then get up at noon and even get closer? I might take a day off and then just start trying to really land on noon, but we'll see what happens. Thanks again for joining me, though. This is David Carson signing out. Y'all have a good night. I definitely appreciate it again.